oh, you're not fighting this guy. You're the problem here with this whole situation and criticism of my career. I'm trying to fight the best people and wants to fight you. Of course, you're going to say yes. He walked away with tens of millions of dollars to support his family for the rest of their lives.
Netflix lost millions of dollars over Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis being cancelled. Now that the whole thing has been scrapped, it turns out doing business with Gervonta Davis was a bad business move overall. Netflix, which was primarily funding the event, burned a lot of cash on production, marketing, securing the venue, and basically all the financial related fees that came with staging this event. Now, even though millions of dollars may not be that much on Netflix's behalf, especially considering that Netflix is worth more than $470 billion, a loss is still a loss.
Jake Paul came out swinging in the aftermath of the cancellation, going straight into a live interview and making it clear he was done trying to make this fight work.
That Gervonta Davis was not going to just play to Jake Paul's rules. I still don't know exactly why this thing is falling apart, but it is falling apart bad. It is bursting at the seams. This should have never gotten started, but it did. But we are almost now exactly where we need to be in the fight, and that's it being off. Gervonta Davis is out of the fight. We should have never had that fight even on the docket, but it was happening. You knew it had potential to be a nightmare. It turned out to be exactly what we thought it was going to.
He claimed that working with Gervonta Davis was impossible, pointing to repeated delays, miscommitments, and ongoing legal distractions that he says ultimately cost both him and Netflix millions.
Given this, the search for a new Jake Paul opponent continues, with Andre Ward now being the newest name that's been added to the growing list of fighters being asked to step in and fight Jake Paul on short notice. This report comes from Mike Coppinger of Ring Magazine, who revealed that Jake Paul's team have approached Andre Ward this past weekend and inquired if he'd be interested and available as a possible replacement for Gervonta Davis, with Francis Ngannou and Nate Diaz also reportedly being given offers to step in.
The situation unfolded just days after new legal allegations were made against Davis, allegations he has denied, adding even more turbulence to everything surrounding the event. And while the dust is still settling, Jake isn't sitting still. Nate Diaz has already jumped in with an Instagram post saying he's ready to run it back, meaning we might be heading straight from cancellation chaos into a massive revenge rematch storyline.
Tank Davis got to be the most stupidest boxer ever in the history of boxing, man. And I mean that, I mean that wholeheartedly, for real. Man, $40 million, think about that. $40 million down the drain. So he calls himself, he's about his money, right? He's about business. Are you truly about business? Are you? Because, dude, like, why are you getting in these sort of altercations, bro? Weeks before the fight, like, come on, man. Like, this has been his MO. That's the issue that I'm having, right?
Sliding out of the legal circus and into straight talk. Tim Bradley just walked in and dunked on the whole mess. And I loved every second he didn't mince words. Tank might have just flushed a reported $40 million down the drain. MVP looked like rookie promotions, and promoters should have had a plan B. We're yelling this at you people in charge.
And MVP more like RP, rookie promotions. Yeah, y'all should have had a backup plan. You should have had a backup fighter. Yup. You live and you learn. Oh, absolutely. You live and you learn. You should have had a plan B, just in case this man, Tank Davis, don't show up. Yeah. That's what you should have done. Now you're looking like idiots. I heard through the grapevine the joint wouldn't even say.
I'm with Tim on this one. You can't build a Netflix tentpole around a single human lottery ticket and then act surprised when the numbers don't add up. Now, don't get it twisted. Bradley reminded us you're innocent until proven guilty. But the optics brutal. My hot take: Jake got played by circumstance more than malice. The undercard fighters got the short end, and the whole setup screamed cash grab disguised as sport. So yeah, we feel for the real fighters. We roast the sloppy planning, and you sit back with popcorn and watch the fallout, because boxing keeps giving those dramatic plot twists we can't quit.
But this is what happens when you play the game, bruh. You played it wrong. And you got beat this time. Anyways, man, look. Feel sorry for the fighters on the undercard, the real fighters. The real fighters on the undercard. I feel sorry for y'all, man. For real. But other than that, it's a learning experience. Jake, fake Paul, it's a learning experience. You and your team.
And just when you thought the post-fight fallout couldn't get any heavier than Tim Bradley calling the whole situation a financial demolition derby, boom, here comes Clarissa's shield sliding into the broadcast like, yeah, let's talk real life now. And listen, she didn't show up to whisper. Clarissa basically said the quiet part out loud. Tank has always had these issues and everyone knew what they were signing up for, so nobody gets to play shock now. And then she hit us with that heavyweight truth about losing the mentor who kept the castle standing.
I'm not gonna say I 100% agree with what Jake said, but what I would say is that we all know Tank background with domestic violence before this fight got made. Before any of his fights get made, we already know he has, and he got some issues with this. So it's not his first, second, or even third time with something like this coming out, or whatever the case may be.
When you go from having Floyd Mayweather running your chessboard to trying to play the game solo, yeah, life starts throwing spinning heel kicks at your sanity. And honestly, she might be right. Sometimes the punches outside the ring do more damage than the ones inside it. So, while Jake is out here writing essays and Netflix is counting receipts like a disappointed accountant, Clarissa just walked in and said, "This isn't just boxing drama. This is life catching up." And we're all just sitting here like, wow, boxing never takes a day off from being absolutely wild.
Well, I was told that he wasn't even training, to be honest with you, and that he was blowing off all media obligations. So I think that's more of the reason why they canceled the fight, to be honest with you. But they don't want to say that because they have the perfect excuse now. But I think they were just growing tired of dealing with him.
And from Clarissa dropping truth bombs like she's auditing Tank's entire life, we slide right into Daniel Cormier, who's basically the dad of combat sports, looking at this whole situation like, see, this is what happens when y'all make chaos a business plan. DC didn't come to whisper either. He rolled up like, look, we all knew this Jake versus Tank experiment was a science project built out of Red Bull cans, duct tape, and pure delusion. And honestly, he's right. The weight difference alone looked like somebody accidentally clicked create a fighter and dragged the slider all the way to max. Jake is over here trying to turn every fight into a Netflix original movie while Tank's life outside the ring is spinning like a loading screen. The fight didn't just fall apart, it evaporated midair like a Snapchat message.
But Jake is talking about, guys, Gervonta Davis didn't even know what weight they were fighting at the time. I don't know what happened to Tank. Tank Davis was once one of the brightest shining stars in all of boxing. I don't know what happened to where he's in this situation with Jake Paul, not really knowing what's going on, and it sounds like he done a lot of stuff to put himself at risk of losing a payday, an exhibition, because that had to only be an exhibition.
But then Jake does what Jake always does. He hits the eject button, flips midair, and suddenly aims at Francis and Ngannou like he just unlocked the final boss in a video game. And DC basically said, no, nope, don't do that. Stop, reverse. Recalculate. Because Francis isn't a marketing opponent. Francis is a weather event. This is not a guy you call out. This is a guy you prepare your will before sparring. Jake saying Francis's light work is like someone calling a volcano warm dirt. DC saw that and said, we're not doing this today. That's how documentaries start. And honestly, he's speaking for all of us. We like entertainment. We enjoy storylines, but we also enjoy seeing Jake Paul with his head still attached to his shoulders. So Jake loved the confidence, loved the strategy, but let's keep the storylines in the realm of human physics.
You don't want those problems. You don't want those Francis Ngannou problems. I don't care what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou. Jake Paul gets in there with Francis. Francis will knock his head off this planet. You don't want those Francis problems. So then Francis says, choose your words wisely, boy. I agree that you need someone to discipline you for what you did to Mike Tyson, but stay in your lane. Yeah, I know, Big Frank.
And just as DC finished saying, maybe don't poke the heavyweight volcano, Carl Frost strolls in like he's been waiting to say, I told you so. Shades on, arms crossed, full Cobra mode. Basically announcing, yep, welcome to Clown World. Frost doesn't beat around the bush. This matchup was a circus from day one. A guy at 135 getting booked against a much bigger man. That's not matchmaking. That's a science experiment gone wrong. I loved Frock calling it out for what it is. The weight gap was never a quirky talking point. It was the whole problem. And when the Cobra jokes about Jake's clown show, you can feel the sting. Frocka's take hits the sweet spot between savage and sensible. Yeah, the spectacle sells, but you can't build a sport on shaky logic and headlines. He's not just trolling. He's calling for accountability. And for us watching, it's an entertaining but sobering reminder that boxing isn't a meme generator. It's a dangerous profession.
These allegations against Gervonta Davis, they're very serious allegations. Anybody that's laying hands on women needs to be shut down straight away. They need to be, for me, they need to be locked up and the key thrown away. You shouldn't touch women. They're not there to be touched and have their hands laid on them. I've got 2 daughters. I've got my wife, my mother. Anybody out there who's close relationship to women knows you do not lay your hands on women ever. Don't touch them. And if you do, you should be.
Then Frock flips the script and gets even more direct. He lays out the ethics. Allegations like, these aren't PR problems. They're real human issues, and Netflix or any promoter should think twice before putting a platform behind someone facing serious accusations. I'm with him on that. If there's smoke, you don't sell tickets until the fire is handled. But also, classic Frock swagger. He teases the idea of stepping in himself, posts gym pics, and says 1 round with 10-ounce gloves, and it's game over for the clown show. We're laughing, but there's also a business lesson buried in the joke. Promoters should have backups, fighters should be vetted, and fans deserve matches that don't feel manufactured. So, yeah, Frost brought heat and common sense. We get the hot takes, the laughs, and the real talk about responsibility. Drop your thoughts below. Would you actually want Frock in there? Or is this one the kind of headline we should archive and forget?
Fight being made to the weight disparity, to Gervonta Davis being a wrong-un in terms of these allegations, the whole thing is just an absolute circus. And this fight really needs to stop. They can't carry on. They might be getting some publicity and some press, and they say there's no such thing as bad press, but this is bad. This needs to not go ahead. Netflix, I can't see them putting a name to it. Boxing shouldn't be involved in it at all. But to be honest, it's got nothing to do with boxing, because it is a clown show exhibition, but the fight should not be happening, and I sincerely hope, for boxing's sake, that it does.
This whole thing was a circus that imploded. Legal smoke, bad optics, and one giant payday walking out the door. We saw Jake hit eject and pivot to bigger targets. Tim Bradley called the promo team out. Clarissa and DC remind us the outside of ring stuff actually matters. And Frock stroll in with Cobra shades to point out the obvious. You can't paper over giant weight gaps and serious allegations and call it sport. Bottom line, promoters flubbed the planning. Tank's situation blew up the show. And Jake's hustle keeps the headlines spinning whether you love it or hate it. Drop your thoughts. Let's debate. Yo, who's the worst planner here? MVP or the fighters who didn't demand backup plans? Would you want Frock or Crawford stepping in, or is this one we let die? Is Jake a clever marketer or playing with fire? Argue your lane below. Keep it hot, but keep it civil. And don't ever forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Blaze. See you in the next one.